Welcome to the Living Life Naturally podcast, the place to be for people who are passionate about living a healthy lifestyle naturally. Let your host, Lynn Wadsworth, help you overcome the challenges of creating a healthy lifestyle, even through perimenopause and menopause, so you'll take on your day more confidently, feel fully energized, find more balance of mind, body, soul, and ignite your spark. If you'd like some personalised attention, Lynn does offer a Your Healthy Life Clarity Call. This is a free focus session where you'll come away with a customised action plan to achieve your biggest health goal and some helpful tools and resources to get you on your way. And now you're invited to take this time out of your busy day, listen with an open mind, rejuvenate your soul with helpful solutions that'll make a difference in your life, and give yourself the gift of knowledge as our guests share their expertise. And now, welcome to the Living Life Naturally podcast.
Welcome to our newest episode on the Living Life Naturally podcast. I'm so thrilled to have you here with me, and we're welcoming Dr. Grace today. And she is a Doctor of Chiropractic, an Integrative Medicine specialist, and a food specialist. She is a Wisconsin native who was the first Olympic level rhythmic gymnast in their state. So her life as an elite athlete merged with geeky scientist after becoming a doctor and practicing in San Francisco and Beverly Hills for 18 years. So this crazy combination has brought her to live and work in the world of celebrity, high-powered executives, musicians, gifted practitioners, and innovative thinkers who are having a positive impact on people in our planet. So welcome. So thrilled to have you here.
It's absolutely an honor. I'm glad I could be here to help inform and be part of your community, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Thanks. So tell us a little about, because what we're going to talk about today is the hidden toxins in our food and how we can eat to repair our body. So, I mean, I know in your bio, it's expansive in some of the things that you've done, but how about your own journey? How did you get to be like a food fixer to help us?
Well, it all stemmed from what you did discuss in the bio, being an elite athlete, being exposed to Olympian culture and coaching and information. I learned at a very young age when I was at the Olympic Training Center. I'll never forget this. I was 13, 15, something like that. But we had a nutrition course there, and they told us that in 10 years from now, 5% of the foods we eat haven't even been invented yet. Wow. And that blew my mind, that in all the things that I'm not even knowing exist yet will be part of my diet. And that was just such an interesting thing. And now you look at grocery stores and you see all the different kinds of cereals and power bars and different waters and all these things, and it was true. It was totally true. So that kind of stuck with me there. And then fast forward now to me and, my practice as a doctor, where the food specialty came into play is that I actually created a trademark cleanse, back in the early 2000s. And I was using it with my patients and with my friends and, colleagues. And it got to a space where people really just liked the food when I made it. So being in the concierge market, I ended up making the food more myself for the people. And so the original purpose was more for, weight loss, but it also was for gut repair and brain repair and all these things that we don't realize are necessary until, we're looking at a major epidemic in just human culture in general now. Every 36 seconds in the United States, that's since the time we've started this podcast, at least 2 people have passed away because of heart-related disease. And, when I see these things happening over and over again, people coming in, surviving cancer, surviving heart attacks, they're obese, they have diabetes, those top 4 killers in modern medicine, all 4 of them have one thing in common. They're all preventable and potentially reversible just by eating the right food. But the question is what to eat and how. Yeah. And this is where my journey has come to starting FoodFiXR and to have a platform where people can come that's an evidence-based space. I'm not just Dr. Googling it, figuring it out, because you know how much of a rabbit hole that can be almost immediately, right? So that's why I decided to create FoodFiXR. It's basically what I do in my office with my people all the time, but I'm giving this a more scalable and, larger format than just what my human body can handle.
So, I know that some of the biggest questions I get is, well, what about these protein bars, or what about protein powder, and all of these things that have come into play in the last years. So do you steer people away from stuff like that and just stay with plant-based whole foods?
Well, obviously the plant-based whole foods is going to be your perfect bet for anything, honestly. Yeah. However, not everyone has access to that. Not everyone there's a huge food insecurity issue too. So there's a lot to tackle when you're looking at food. But when you're looking at new products that are out or new fad information, like CoQ10 is everything right now. And then protein is, no, it's not CoQ10, it's protein now. And what about omega-3s? There's all these different things that kind of get the bubble to the surface of what people start to know about the media, but all these things are in our biochemistry that I'm looking at all the time. So when I answer a question like this, where, what kind of protein do you take and what do you look for protein bars? The first place I always start, no matter what you're eating, no matter what you're looking at, always 100% first, go to the ingredients on the label first. Yeah. I don't care how much salt it has. I don't care what the protein intake is. I don't care how much the sugar is yet. You have to look at that ingredient list first, because that's where the magic is. If you're not looking at foods that don't have trans fats, excitotoxins, corn sugar, and GMOs, you're already going to get sick. If you do have those things in your food, you're going to get sick. It's all over the literature and science now. There's no way to debate the fact that trans fats, excitotoxins, corn sugar, and GMOs create health problems. So no matter what the protein is that you're looking at, start with the ingredients and then learn what a trans fat is. Like, what even is a trans fat? How do you find it? That's what FoodFiXR does. That's what the app does. You give us your condition, and our algorithm will give you an actual grocery store list of the exact foods to get from the grocery store to help you to repair from your condition. And we do all the hard work of looking at the ingredients, what the protein content is, all those things. That's what our AI system does, and our algorithm does that. We sort out all that information and give you the perfect list, so it's a stress-free way to know what to eat and how when you're looking at things to get.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us a little more about all of the toxins. I know there's more than just looking at ingredients on a label, and I totally agree. And my blanket response is, if there's more than 5 ingredients, I don't even touch it. But there's a lot more toxicity. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, it can come from a variety of factors. First and foremost, as you stated, it's the manufactured foods or like products, that I like to call them, that if you can't pronounce it, it's a good place to start. If it's a sugar derivative like sucralose or fructose or any of the things that where they took the actual the original format of the compound and break it up into little pieces, but it still gives that sweetness to it. Those are the things that tend to have a lot of, impact on your pancreas, on your liver, on your kidneys, and all of your detoxifying organs. It really starts to break them down quite a bit. MSG, obviously, monosodium glutamate, learn what it looks like, learn how to pronounce it and read it. So you can, when you find it on a product, you can put the product down. Just put it down. don't put it in your face, put it down, because MSG is a known neurotoxin, and it creates things like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and any kind of neurologically degenerative diseases. So there's the manufactured end of it. And then there's the environmental end. Are you getting pesticides and organic compounds that are designed to, kill off bugs that have been infused into our food, injected into the animals? That's another area of concern. What kind of animal are you eating? What kind of protein did you get from that animal? Was it one that only saw one bad day? Or was it one that was born and raised on a factory farm and tortured its entire life, and you got all that cortisol and stress inside of that animal coming into you, plus the cancer that it gets because it's being given all kinds of antibiotics and injections and all kinds of different sort of pharmaceuticals because they're in tight quarters and there shouldn't be. And so to not get the diseases that they normally wouldn't get if they weren't in those conditions, they're given all these, injections and pharmaceuticals. Well, guess what? You get that too.
Yes.
So it's a disgusting and horrible way to live and way to treat living creatures. And so as much as I do eat meat, I have to admit I do, but I will never, ever put my money or my health into the hands of big business farming. It's just killing our planet. It's disgusting to the animals, and it is a massive source of toxic accumulation that keeps festering in our foods and in our culture, just in bigger and bigger and bigger ways.
So where do you get your meats from?
Well, I like to go to the local farmer as much as I can. I'm in a really blessed space living here in Wisconsin. We're farm country here. So I literally can go and get a whole pig at the state fair or whatever, and being a winner at that day for the pig isn't one of the best times to win, but that's how it works. Yes, I look. If I'm in the grocery store, I look for locally sourced meats, or from meats that I know are pasture raised, organically fed what they're normally supposed to eat, like, grains and grass, not corn and fillers. Right. And just do the best that I can. I mean, my friends have chickens. I go and get eggs from them, and the chickens run free and eat all the ticks that are on the ground and the bugs and stuff. That's how it should be. And we're going back to that, which is really awesome. Even in larger metropolitan areas, you can get this kind of quality of food, and it's not impossible. In fact, people are demanding it more and more because we're recognizing the correlation between our health and poor food choice. It's becoming more and more obvious. So that's what I try to do. I'll get it pasteurized, get it as close to the farm as possible, and get it as local as possible.
So give us your take on how people can begin to repair their body with, it's not just the animals, it's our vegetables, our fruits, everything that has toxins. So how do you begin to repair your body?
Well, first and foremost, take out the worst contributers. So again, look at that ingredient list, and if you are eating something without an ingredient list, like an actual vegetable, right? Get it as locally grown as possible. Eat seasonally. We're not designed to eat strawberries in the winter because they don't grow.
We are here in Florida.
Well, okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Very true. It depends on where you are. This is very true. But in Norway or here in Wisconsin, you get what you get during the seasons, right? Yes. And even in Florida, there is still a seasonal a flow to what grows.
Absolutely.
Right. So that seasonality is depending on where you live and how long you've been there, your body prepares itself for those seasons just as much as the season prepares for you, right? With what it gives you in bounty. So making sure that you're eating seasonally, that's a great place to start. taking out the toxins in the manufactured foods, the processed foods, the things that are ultra processed that barely even have actual ingredients in them anymore, right? Decreasing your sugar to 5 grams per less. That's one of the best ways to start to really start to cleanse out your system and to decrease inflammation, decrease pain, decrease acidity. The more alkaline you can make your body, the less pain and less dysfunction you'll have, more brain power. My biggest favorite tip is take out corn.
Yes.
Remove corn from your diet completely.
Yes.
And there's 2 reasons why. One is it's the number 1 most genetically modified plant on the planet. And so it's destroying our ecosystem and our external ecosystem of the planet, as well as the internal ecosystems of our bodies. And it's a known cancer causer. They know that sure now. And the other thing that it does is it's like adding gasoline to the fire of inflammation. So if you have any pain, if you get headaches, if you have fibromyalgia, if you're surviving cancer, or you've had a heart attack, or you just had surgery and you're healing from the wounds, right? Your body needs omega-3 essential fatty acids to help with the repair of all those things. Okay. Now, omega-6 are for just the opposite. That's when the pain is there. It's like the trigger to let your body know that you have something that needs to get a healing process, right? So omega-3s increase inflammation. Omega-6s increase inflammation. Omega-3s bring inflammation down. So the more omega-3s you have, the less pain and inflammation you'll have, right? Well, when you have a 1-to-1 ratio of the two, that's a good balance. That's what's called homeostasis, right? And in corn, the biology of the plant, for every 1 omega-3, the good guy that brings down inflammation, there are 80 omega-6s that will help start to increase it. So now you're looking at corn starch, corn syrup, popcorn, corn on the cob. I don't care what kind of corn it is. It is the gasoline that you're adding in to the fire of inflammation.
And inflammation causes so many diseases people don't realize. So the biggest one for me is I've suffered from migraines since I had my first child. And of course, I've learned so much about what I can eat and what I can't eat and what will trigger a migraine and what won't.
Oh, yeah.
But very often we don't think about the corns that have a big impact on our inflammation. So that is a great tip for people, just to stay away from corn. And I have to tell you, as much as I'm into health and wellness, I hadn't really thought about popcorn. I don't really eat popcorn, but it's not one that I'd really thought about.
Right. And people go to that once it's, low calorie and it's so easy to eat and it's supposed to be healthy, right? And nope.
Yeah.
Nope, take it out of the diet. And as soon as you do, I can guarantee you within 1 week, whatever pain you have, you'll notice it decreasing significantly.
Yeah, and the same can be said for sugar, because I know that sugar was another big trigger for me with migraines and then the inflammation I had in my body from autoimmune disorders. And here in the States, we think sugar is something you put a tablespoon into something and that's your sugar. They just don't realize, as you said, almost everything on a package that ends in OSE, like your fructose, your sucrose, whatever it is, they're all derivatives that have been modified and made toxic.
Absolutely true. 100%. Yes.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I think we've had a disservice done to us in the eating realm is these no-fat, low-fat concoctions where they've stripped all of the nutrients out of food and then they push in all of the chemicals and toxins and artificial sweeteners to make them taste better.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. I think one product that comes to mind when I think about that one, probiotics are a massive yes. You need to get probiotics. You need to have for good, gut function, you should be doing a really good probiotic like yogurt or cultured vegetables and that sort of stuff, right? I'll never forget, I was taking a client through the grocery store with me, and we picked up, I think it was Dannon yogurt or Yoplait or one of the, massively produced ones. And we looked at the label. It had more sugar in it than a Coca-Cola. There were no probiotics. There was no actual like acidophilus or anything like that that you normally would see. And it had corn syrup besides. So it was a total disaster when it came to what your gut actually needed. Now, then they had a product right next to it from the same company that was touting now with this certain such and such strain of probiotic. And so basically they went back to their original recipe, which actually had the stuff in it in the first place, like it used to, but they had the other derivative right next to it, like you're talking about, that was just chemical. Let's just be real. That's what it was. It was just made up chemical stuff. And so they re-released a new product that was considered to be a new product that was just an actual yogurt instead. So you really, it can be so confusing for people if you've never seen the differences. And especially if you've been shopping and looking at certain brands for a really long time, those brands, they evolve through time as well. And some of them may have stayed true to their original format and are actually still really good food. And some of them are just completely made up chemical derivatives that make your brain trigger that you're getting something and your body disintegrate because you're not getting the nutrients it needs.
My mother-in-law, and I know I've mentioned this on my podcast before, she was a saccharin drinker, and she would, because, way back, saccharin was the sweetener that, it's not sugar, it's, it's not going to give me the calories. And she drank saccharin-laced iced tea, coffee, diet sodas. And of course, when she was in her 70s, she developed a brain tumor. And I still am so convinced in my heart that all of that saccharin, all of her life, is what was her downfall.
I'd have to agree with you. And I'm really sorry to hear that. And that's why I'm doing this, because it's insidious and people aren't given the right information. And then if you are given the right information, where do you start? What do you get instead? And how do you find it? Like if you've been doing something your entire life and you need to make a change, what do you do? Where do you start? Right, so that's what FoodFiXR is for.
So tell us a little bit about FoodFiXR.
Of course. You can find us on the web right now. I'm an early stage startup. We're in pre-seed funding right now, and we're building out. We have two different kinds of artificial intelligence that we're implementing, AI, because that's obviously a massive movement, and where computing and the world of the internet is changing into. So like I mentioned earlier, the whole purpose is to have a single evidence-based place for people to come to help you to repair from whatever your conditions are by using food. So you give us your condition and we give you an actual grocery store list that you can take and go to the grocery store and purchase the foods that will help your body to heal with the most nutrients possible to help you heal, right? Or you can actually buy the grocery list you can get through the app, so you can purchase with us, kind of like Instacart, that kind of a situation. And then we have actually coaches who can help you with your issues as well and take you through all the things that you need to do to be successful in your healing process.
Well, so what happens if you've got multiple diseases going on?
Well, you tailor it. There's an intake that you do when you first get on the app. You can focus on one thing, or you can have access and options to choose a couple of different things. Like, for example, you said you have migraine headaches. So you could have migraine, maybe you have postpartum depression, and you have a thyroid problem. You can work on each of those, and we'll integrate them in different ways.
That's awesome. And where do people find you?
You can find us on the web right now at foodfixr.com. That's FOODFI, capital X, capital R. FoodFiXR.com. You can always get in contact with me there too. You can follow us on any of the tags like Instagram and we are still on Facebook. Not too many people are, but we're still there. But Instagram is our biggest one, and LinkedIn, and the tag is FoodFiXR. FoodFi, capital X, capital R.
And I'll put that in the show notes. That's so exciting. You've given us some great information here.
And I just want to again say thank you for the opportunity to be able to communicate with your tribe, and feel free to reach out at any time and sign up to be a beta tester, because we're about to launch soon, and I would love to have you guys sign up.
That would be awesome. That's an awesome thing to do. Thank you. And thanks for being with us here today, all the way from Wisconsin. I'm very jealous of the fact that you have so much in the way of farming, and I think that that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time too. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Living Life Naturally podcast, where we're on a mission to inform, inspire, and encourage women to live their best and healthiest life, confidently, joyfully, and free from what's been holding them back. For show notes and free resources, visit holistic-healthandwellness.com. You should also check out the Energized Healthy Women's Club, a private and free community on Facebook for women on a mission to live healthfully. And of course, we'd love to have you join us, so if you're not yet a member and would like to be, please reach out and let us know. Don't forget to follow us on our social channels, and if you enjoyed this podcast, why not share it with your friends? If you found good value, chances are they will too. Thank you for listening. Until next time, live your life naturally and joyfully.